Long, long ago, on Dartmoor, near the village of Holm, there was a midwife. Her name was Morada. Morada, although she was in much demand, for she had much skill in the art of midwifery, she was also generally disliked, for she was greedy and liked nothing more than the sound of jangling coins. Cross my palm with silver. Well, one night Morada was in her bed, and it was a rough night, a howling gale, rattling the windows. And she heard a cry from outside, "Morada! Morada!" She did not rise from her bed. "Go away! I'm not getting out of bed tonight, not for anyone." But again the cry came, "Morada! Morada!" So she got up and went to the window and opened the window, and there below was a horse. But on the horse, a small man, looking up. "Morada, my wife is in labour. Come and help. I will pay you." "How much?" 10 golden guineas. Well, Morada liked the sound of that. Soon she lost her fear of the storm, and she ran down the stairs and out of the front door, and there was this tiny man on horseback. He was wearing fine clothes of velvet. He had one curl of black hair on his forehead. His eyes were bright and shining. "You will come with me, Morada. Here." And he gave her the purse of golden guineas, and she was sure to check them and put them inside her house before she left. He insisted on blindfolding her. "You must not know where we are going." And he put her in the saddle behind him and rode like the wind, and the storm howled in her ears, but she knew not where she was being taken, a great distance across the moors. Finally, the journey came to its end, and she was taken down from the horse and led inside a building of some nature. She could hear the resonance of the flagstones on the floor. The blindfold was taken, and she could see that now she stood in a small room, and at the heart of the room a tiny bed, and around the bed candles burning bright. And in the bed a small and beautiful woman. And she indeed was in labour, and Morada tended to her, and soon a tiny dot of a baby was born. Morada looked after the child and mother. But that small man came again and gave her a pot of ointment. "You will stay here for a week, and every day you will anoint the baby's eyes with this ointment, for he is squinny-eyed. Do this, Morada." Morada could not believe the beauty of this woman. She talked to her. She learned that she indeed was the daughter of the king of the fairies, banished to Dartmoor for marrying this fairy that Morada had been brought to that place with. Every day, noon, night, morn, she anointed the small baby's eyes with the ointment, day after day, for 7 days. The fairy princess told her, "Morada, at the end of this week I may return to my father's kingdom, where all is warm and the sun shines, not like this God-forsaken darkness and mist perpetual here on Dartmoor." After the 7 days, the fairy man, for that's who he was, brought Morada out of the house, once more blindfolded, and lifted her onto the horse behind him and rode with her as swift as the wind, and back to the village of Holm, where he set her down on her doorstep. The blindfold was removed, and the fairy man rode away. Morada went inside and once more counted those golden guineas. But when she went to retire to bed, she found that in her pocket she had something that should not be there. There was the pot of fairy ointment. And as she held it, she wondered, what magic this ointment might have. And she opened the top and dabbed in a finger and applied it to her left eye. There was a prickling sensation, but soon she was asleep. And when she woke up in the morning, the world seemed different. The table in the room seemed larger, almost shining. The chair too, everything larger, as if magnified. She went to the front door and opened it, and although the sun was shining in the sky, she could see all of the stars clearly. She set off for the market in Holm. She walked, and when she was approaching the market, suddenly before her was a great horse, and there upon the horse was the ferryman. "Can you see me, Morada?" "I can," she said. "With which eye do you see me, Morada?" "Why, with this one." And at that moment the ferryman leant down, and with a stroke she was blinded in her left eye. "You should not have used that ointment, Morada. That's fairy ointment, not for the likes of you." She could not see where the voice was coming from, but now he asked her to hold out her hand, and into it was dropped another bag of coins. "That's another 10 golden guineas, Morada, for the good care you gave to my wife. For today we return to the land of the fairies." And Morada went home, on the one hand glad to have 20 golden guineas, on the other hand sad to have lost the sight in one eye. I mean, what would you rather have?